Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of West Coast Gridiron. I am your host, Jeff, and today we are talking about the Super Bowl 2026. I mean, what a performance by Seattle. Just total domination defensively, total domination of the game. I mean, to be quite honest, sitting there watching the game through the first quarter, you sat back and you kind of said, okay, it's 3-0. Okay, it's 6-0. Okay, what are the Patriots doing? What are they thinking? And then in the back of my head, I even posted this at halftime on one of the social media on TikTok. I think I posted it. I said, I just feel like Sam Darnold's going to make a mistake and he's going to throw a pick. And I think that's what the Patriots were waiting for, to be quite honest, because he threw some Brett Favre, Drew Brees, just kind of just throwing them into those tight windows, not really caring, taking three sheets to the wind. I'm throwing it and let's see what happens. And I just kept feeling like, and the Patriots were so close. I feel like they dropped, Gonzalez, I believe, dropped two picks. One that was going to be a touchdown. He ends up dropping that one. But like if he wasn't there, it would have been a touchdown for Seattle early on. But it was just one of those things. You kind of sat back, like the Patriots were playing not to lose instead of playing to win. Like it just seemed very conservative. And all the pundits that I've been seeing this morning are kind of saying the same thing. Like he played so well throughout the season. And then in the playoffs, it's like they try to hide him. They didn't want to show their young quarterback and what he could do or couldn't do. I mean, they didn't really use his legs very much. He improvised a few times when he was able to, but not a lot of creativity on the side of the offense for New England. A lot of drop back passing early on, especially when they got down 12-0. I don't know. It just felt I felt like they were playing to not lose instead of playing to win. I was very surprised that Vrabel didn't dial up any fakes, especially after they were punting so much. I mean, again, maybe they just weren't seeing what they were seeing, but again, at some point, maybe that's a sign of desperation. But, just going back, thinking of the Belichick days, and Vrabel worked under that system, and Belichick was not opposed to pulling out a trick play here or there, whether it was on special teams or on offense. He wasn't opposed to doing that. But just kind of give you a quick synopsis here. I mean, and I also said this at the end of the game. First of all, congrats to Seattle. They earned every little bit of it. I know there's been some talk about Drake May's shoulder and if he took like a shot or something, if that affected him. Let's not take away from what Seattle did. Even if his shoulder was hurting, they suffocated the heck out of him. So, as far as just some of the basic stat lines, again, 29-13 doesn't do it justice. Those 13 points really came in garbage time. The Patriots were shut out 3 out of 4 quarters, unheard of in Super Bowl history. We almost had a shutout, which never would have happened, has not happened in Super Bowl history. So, lot of firsts in Super Bowl history for the new Legion of Boom, dark side defense from Seattle. Obviously, running back Kenneth Walker, K9 as they call him, he was the MVP with 135 rushing yards and 26 receiving yards. First running back since Terrell Davis in 1998, which is crazy when you think about that. We've almost gone 30 years without a running back winning MVP. 30 years, almost. Again, give or take some years here, but 1998, it's 2026. Almost made it 30 years without a running back making MVP. That's crazy to me. Again, some historic things. Obviously, the Seahawks kicker set a Super Bowl record with 5 field goals, going 5 for 5, accounting for 17 of Seattle's 29 points. That's unheard of in Super Bowl history. The defensive dominance by Seattle held the Patriots, again, like I said, scoreless for the first 3 quarters. And, they capped off the victory with a 45-yard pick six in the fourth quarter. I mean, you look at the quarterback comparison, you're going to say Drake May had the better game minus the turnover. But again, Sam Darnold knew his role, did exactly what he was supposed to do. He was a journeyman traveling from, team to team. And he knew that they were going to win the Super Bowl through this defense. So all he had to do was not make mistakes. And you're talking about a guy that had a bunch of turnovers in the regular season. I believe from what I heard and what I was reading is they were leading, like he was leading in turnovers up until the playoffs, in which, again, Super Bowl history here, he did not have a single turnover in the playoffs or in the Super Bowl. Unheard of. Super Bowl history right there. But he went 19 of 38 for 202 with 1 TDs, 0 picks. Drake made 27 of 43. They had him drop back 43 times, and he went 295 for 2 TDs and 2 TDs and 2 picks, and plus lost a fumble while being sacked 6 times. So, I mean, that poor guy was under duress. The Patriots need to address their offensive line. They have a center guard playing left tackle, and he was molested all night. They were dialing up pressures on his side all day long. And then when you just compare the team comparison, I mean, Seattle dominated in every single category except for one. And again, that one was really garbage time. But I mean, they dominated in total yards. They were 335 to New England's 331. I mean, obviously a little close there. But I mean, as far as domination, they dominated every category. But rushing yards, 141 to 79. I feel like the New England Patriots gave up on the run really fast. There was a couple times they brought in 6 linemen. They were able to get some play action and get some stuff down the field. I don't know why they went away from that. I don't have the stat line as how many times they ran that formation, but I remember seeing it once, maybe another time after that. But again, I don't know why they didn't come back to that. Passing yards, Seattle's 194 to New England's 252. Turnovers, Seattle 0, New England 3. And again, one of those came in garbage time. I know Drake May was trying to push it down the field, but again, you didn't need to. You could have tried to matriculate a little bit faster down. And then sacks 6 to New England's 1, and then time of possession 33 minutes to 26 minutes. Seattle won every category -1. Plus, they won in the one that mattered. They ended up winning the Super Bowl and taking it. Again, it was a crazy performance by Seattle, just all around. Let's just talk about their defense for a second. That defense has been dominant all year long, and it's weird because you sit back and you really didn't hear about them. Everyone that I heard on TikToks and on ESPN, it was Josh Allen's year, and then the NFC, all I could hear about was Matthew Stafford. Meanwhile, the Seahawks are just sitting here, just not allowing a lot of points. Yeah, Sam Darnold is, turning the ball over here and there, but they're just winning games, just quietly winning games, and then they get the playoffs, and all of a sudden, oh man, we got to take Seattle seriously. So I think that's odd that that team got slept on that hard. And again, everyone's been looking for the new Sean McVay, and they found the defensive version in Mike McDonald. That guy, my gosh, the amount of simulated pressures, fire zones, the things he was dialing up to confuse and just put Drake May under duress were crazy. And the fact that I think what happened with Josh McDaniels is he's a sequence type of offensive coordinator. So what that means is, again, he's dialing up a play to set up another play. Well, the problem was I think he got so flustered in the first and second quarter that his sequence got all out of whack, and he was just trying to find anything. He was basically throwing spaghetti at the ceiling and seeing what stuck. And unfortunately, he got stuck in a rut, and he was making Drake May drop back, and wasn't really helping him out whatsoever. I didn't see a lot of shifts and motions and stuff like that. Like, they were very vanilla. And then they try to spread them out, then they try and bring them in, but there wasn't a lot of shifts and motions to really make Seattle either stay in something or at least give up what they were doing by basically saying, okay, well, hey, if you're going to shift in motion, well, now we got to show you what we're doing because we're sitting there. Not a lot of that. I mean, not a lot of movement to get Stephon Diggs the ball. I mean, really didn't hear his name until the third quarter. They locked him down, and that's your premier receiver. And like, it didn't seem like there was a lot of attempts to screen him, whether it was short screens, middle screens, tunnel screens. Like, it just didn't seem like there was a lot of activity to get him the ball. It looked like exactly what they did in the playoffs, what they're trying to do in the Super Bowl. We're just going to sit back. We are going to let Seattle make mistakes, and then we're going to take advantage of those mistakes. Seattle didn't make any mistakes. Seattle didn't make any mistakes kicking the ball. They didn't make any mistakes punting the ball. The few times they did, they didn't make any mistakes on offense. So, like, the Patriot way of bend but don't break, which has been their way for years, where they will let you get into the red zone and kick a field goal, and then they'll take advantage when you get greedy and throw a pick, and then they'll score, and all of a sudden you've had 3 drives and you scored 3 times, and they score a touchdown, and now they're up 7-6. That didn't happen. I mean, the Seahawks scored 17 points in the fourth quarter when it was pretty much game over, and the Patriots scored their 13 in garbage time. Again, I truly believe, like I said at the end of the game, again, congrats to Seahawks defense. I truly believe the MVP, I think, would have been the Seahawks defense. I mean, I get it. You got to give it to one guy. They give it to Kenneth Walker, which, again, congrats to him. Again, he rushed for 135 yards. Don't take anything away from him. They were able to run the ball on New England, and they were able to open it. I mean, that guy was more patient than Le'Veon Bell. There is a play. I don't remember what play it was, but I remember seeing it, and I sat back, and he must have sat behind the line for about a good second, almost 2 seconds, and then, boom, shoots out the hole. Like, you want to talk about patience and then jump cutting and going and the explosiveness that cat has, that was crazy. That was a very awesome, that was a very nice designed play, and he was patient in the hole and then shot through. He waited for his line to open up the lanes, and then he shot through, and it was great. But I mean, I don't think I've seen that since Le'Veon Bell. The amount of patience that Walker had to sit behind the line and wait for something to open up, and literally he was just kind of like just mirroring the offensive line, waiting for it to pop open, and then boom, shoots the gap and goes. Again, kudos to him. Again, I do believe he earned it, but just sitting back as former defensive coordinator, now an offensive coordinator, I can appreciate both sides of the ball. And I just sit back and I look at the job that Seattle's defense did. If there was a way to give a unit the MVP, like you would give it to Seattle's defense. That defense smothered New England, kept them under duress the whole time, and didn't allow them to get in any kind of rhythm or allow McDaniels to really build any kind of sequencing whatsoever. So I think it'll be interesting to see how they build and can they repeat this. Again, it's hard because in the NFL, it's nothing but parity, 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 parity. Just like college football now has turned into with NIL, which is a whole nother mess there. But I will dive into this little piece a little bit. I'll dive into the halftime show for a brief second. I did watch it. My daughter enjoyed it. I think too many outsiders influenced everything because I kept hearing different things about what the halftime show was going to be and what was going to happen, and it's not good for the NFL and da-da-da-da. Overall, I thought I mean, again, did I understand any of it? No. The music was good. I mean, literally, I thought it was cool seeing Ricky Martin. I thought it was cool seeing him. Brought me back to the 90s, to my young days. But no, I literally sat there and I asked my daughter, I was like, hey, you enjoying the show? And she's like, yeah, I like the music. She's like, I wish I could understand them, which it made her want to learn a little bit more Spanish. Just keep in mind, my daughter's, under 10. She's like 7 years old. So I was like, okay, that's cool. So I didn't see anything necessarily wrong with it. I mean, do I care for all the backup dancing and whatnot? No. And then I did have a chance to go watch the alternative one that was offered. I was able to watch it on like a repeat since it was on YouTube. And I mean, I guess it all depends on your flavor. I mean, I like the rock bands. I like the music. I like that. I like how they had it set up to where it was just. I like the setup of how it was focused on the band and not like a big, huge, like extravaganza kind of thing. So I thought that was cool. Like the setup, I liked. I mean, yeah, I didn't care for a lot of the bands or whatnot, but I mean, I think you have a double-edged sword here where it's being turned political when it shouldn't be. It's a football halftime show, people. So again, I see the pros and cons to both shows. I personally believe, and I brought this up way before. I've brought it up in previous shows. I've brought it up in previous TikToks. I brought it up in previous social media posts. I want to go back to wherever the city's being held. I want to take it back to like the Super Bowl one look. Now, again, that's nostalgia to me. I don't really know if there was anything political behind that one. But the marching bands, bring it back to college, the style, bring back the marching bands, bring that back. And again, it will never happen, but then that eliminates all your political left wing, right wing, blah, 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 blah. It eliminates all that garbage that personally I don't want in football. I want to sit there and I want to enjoy the game. I want just two teams go at it. I don't want to hear about, well, this is going to happen during the show and that's going to happen during the show. I don't care. I want to sit there and enjoy it with my family, no matter who's putting it on, no matter who's doing what. And I think it'd be a cool reward to have one of the colleges. I mean, you could have UCLA, USC. You could even win as far up as Oregon, but I mean, you could have Berkeley. You could have had Sacramento State. You could have all those people come down, bring their marching bands, and then you could have had the top marching high school bands. I mean, they always like to bring in high schools, and they always like to say how they're doing things for the kids. Well, let one of the high school bands perform at the Super Bowl, or 4 or 5 of them. Bring in the state champion ones. Like, again, you have state champions. I know they have band competitions. I know they do. Bring the top high school, bring the top colleges, bring 2 or 3 of them. Let them perform. Make it about the performance. Make it about the future and about those kids coming up. And stop paying these stars millions of dollars to come perform. And then it turns political because so-and-so went to so-and-so's presidential rally and so-and-so said this and so-and-so's conspiracy about that. Eliminate it all. There's my little soliloquy on the halftime show. Again, I thought both did what they promised. You were bringing in the international community as far as the actual Super Bowl one, and you provided a low key, just band centered, music centered version on the other one. Like, that's literally what it was. It was just band centered. I mean, there wasn't really anything too crazy, man. Man, yeah, Kid Rock did his, he did a Jesus song. He was praising God and whatnot, and all power to him. Again, it's good. It was a good show. Again, I could appreciate both shows and also see where both shows are missing. And it's just, I think it's just become too political for no reason. It doesn't need to be political, and we've created it that way. And I'm talking about they as in the outside forces. It should just be football, family, and fun. That's what it should be about. That's all that should be. But anyway, okay, back to the game. That was my little diatribe about the halftime shows. Again, I've heard both sides. People hated the halftime show. People hated both of them. People liked both of them. People liked one, didn't like other. And it's amazing to me how you kind of see, well, yeah, of course you didn't like that one because you've I've seen how you align yourself politically, so of course you're gonna like that. I don't know. Me, I can appreciate both sitting back because I like to try and be in the middle as possible. So I can like both and not like both and give my opinion on both and say like, but personally, I want to get rid of it entirely and just say, hey, let's get some marching bands, let's get some dance teams from the colleges and the high schools, and let's let them showcase in the Super Bowl. Pay their colleges, donate money to their colleges, donate money to their high schools. I mean, what's how could that not be any better? Like, let's get that rolling. Let's get that on the ball. But again, maybe somebody will hear this and you'll pass it along, and maybe I'll post it again, and then we can talk about that. But yeah, let's bring the marching bands back. Let's bring all that back. So anyway, second half again, nothing really changes from what I saw. Again, other than it just looked like New England had kind of just conceded and said, no, we're going to wait for Seattle to make a mistake in the second half. And it just never came. And like I said, New England, who was notorious, I felt, growing up watching them from 2001 all the way up until the 2010s, 2017s, and whatnot, until Tom Brady left, they were notoriously good at making adjustments, whether they were up, whether they were down, whether they were tied. You always saw something different in the second half. And I didn't see much different offensively in the second half. Defensively, they were doing what they could. They were matching Seattle's intensity defensively. But again, you got two defensive-minded head coaches. You got Vrabel and you got McDonald. And they were both really good, and they matched each other's intensity. They put both quarterbacks under duress. Seattle was able to get home 5 more times than the Patriots when it comes to sacks, and they were able to turn the ball over 3 more times. Now, as an offensive coordinator too, I count 3 and outs and punts as turnovers. A 3 and out to me is a turnover. So I wasn't able to find the stat line on that, how many 3 and outs the Patriots had. I'm sure I could look it up real fast and find it, but that's a turnover too. And there was a few of those in the first half, and right out the gate in the second half, in the third quarter, boom, 1, 2, 3, and they were out. So that was a turnover in my book. Like, that was time for you to create momentum and for you to put a score on and be down 7-12. Or sorry, no, sorry. They would have been down 9-7 in the third quarter if they would have turned around and scored. It was 9-0 at half. If the Patriots would have just walked down the field, changed something, made some kind of adjustment, and boom, scored in the second half, it is 9-7 in the third quarter. Instead, 1, 2, 3, punt it, and boom, then the Seahawks end up scoring again. It's 12-0 going into the fourth quarter. So, and then by that time, now it's crunch time. It's not the 28-3 game from the Falcons. So, and I heard that brought up a few times. Oh, well, 28-3, 22-3. But it looked different. I'm sorry, Atlanta, you were not the Seattle Seahawks, and your defense was not looking like that. I mean, again, it was one of those things where you kind of wanted it to happen to make it more of a game. But again, the game within the game was fantastic. And for those of you that are football coaches, offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, special teams coordinators, we had a blast watching that game. If you're just a casual fan, you probably hated it because you're like, oh, this is low scoring. Nobody's doing anything. This game's boring. But if you have any knowledge of football, watching the movement from Seattle's defense, watching the adjustments, watching the movement on New England's defense was fantastic. And then watching how offensively, Seattle did play conservative, but they took their shots when they needed to on play action. And Darnold was there when he needed to be. And Drake May, the couple of throws he did make, especially in the third and fourth quarter where they did march down and score. I mean, again, where was that in the first and second quarter? But again, by that time, maybe Seattle had already thought, hey, the game's over. Who cares? They scored, whatever. But then even at that point, it's 12-7. And you might have a game and then it's 19-7. Or sorry, it was 19-7 at that point. So they're still down. But you're still thinking, hey, you know what? That's a better game than nothing. And then all of a sudden, it ends up being 29-13. It looks a lot closer. They only lose by 16 by 2 scores. But again, the game within the game, if you're watching it as an OC and a DC or even a special teams guy, like you're sitting there and you're just like, this game is fantastic. The chess match that was going on in the first half, and then again, the chess match going on in the second half to not give up the lead, to not make mistakes, to make sure that Seattle held on to that lead. It was fantastic. Again, I could appreciate it sitting back watching it. Again, watching the different ways that the defenses were attacking each other, the overload zone, the overload blitz that Seattle kept bringing on the right side of the offensive line that just kept hitting Drake May. He just could. They, for whatever reason, they didn't have a check for it. And there was a couple times you could have saw, if he would have saw it and either checked to the other side or did a quick throw, just get it out to his slot receiver. Slot receiver is going to get 5 or 6 yards before he gets tackled. But for whatever reason, they couldn't make an adjustment to it. And that's just, and again, I can relate as an OC when you're sitting there and all of a sudden you go back and you watch them like, man, there's our adjustment. Why didn't we catch that sooner? Why couldn't we make that adjustment? Or how did I miss this? So again, I can sit back and sympathize and empathize and all those thighs and eyes that you see and hear in those games. But overall, fantastic game. I will close on this. I think Seattle is going to be dominant for a while. I think Mike McDonald has found a formula that works. And I think Sam Darnold's found his home. I mean, he's found what works for now. So, I mean, I think if they keep building around that defense and then they keep solidifying their run game, I mean, that's going to be a tough team for the next few parts of this decade. I mean, you're talking latter part of the decade, but I could see them being in the championship conversation all the way, for the next 4 or 5 years till all of a sudden, again, what happens? It's free agency, drafts, and all of a sudden once money comes into it, then it kind of separates those teams. The only team was able to consistently do that was the Patriots of the early 2000s and 2010s. For some reason, they were always able to make something out of nothing. They might sign one big time free agent like a Randy Moss or an Ocho Cinco, but for whatever reason, they were always able to try and keep their teams for the most part solid. So will Seattle be able to keep their nucleus for beyond 3 to 5 years? Will they be able to keep it to where they're competitive and in that conversation and try and create their own dynasty like the Chiefs, then the Patriots before them? That'll be an interesting one. And then for the Patriots on their side, hell, going from 4 wins in 2024 to now, they ended up with their grand total of 17 wins in 2025. Kudos to them. Kudos to Mike Vrabel. They got to address the offensive line. That was their big downfall there. They got to address the offensive line, and then they got to sit back and look at this playoff run and say, where did we mess up with Drake May? What did we do? Looking at him in the regular season to then trying to conceal him in the playoffs. How can we make adjustments to where he can now grow and take the next step so they can try to rekindle and rebuild their own dynasty on the AFC side? So I think those are the two things important going from them. And I mean, because again, they're going to have a tough bill, no pun intended, coming back at him because Josh Allen's going to be coming for revenge. And then again, that whole AFC is loaded with him, Jackson, Herbert, Burrow. I mean, it's a loaded AFC. So will those teams make those adjustments so those quarterbacks are able to make it back? I mean, the whole AFC North minus the Bengals coach got fired. So let's see. They're all going to be brand new. Let's see what they look like moving forward. So, and then again, Seattle, what are they going to look like? Their offensive coordinator's gone. He's over becoming the Las Vegas Raiders head coach, which as a Raider fan, cool. I'm also thinking like, hey man, you just left. You just won a Super Bowl and now you're going to go coach the Raiders. Have you seen, I mean, no offense, as a Raider fan, I can call them this. I think they're a dumpster fire right now. So good luck, Clint Kubiak. I wish you all the best of luck. So, I mean, again, if he can turn it around, I mean, fantastic. I just want the Raiders to be competitive again. That'd be nice as a Raider fan. But yeah, no, we will see. Again, I thought, overall, great Super Bowl. And the only thing I thought that was kind of mid and not very good, to be brilliant, was the commercials. I mean, there was not one memorable commercial, and maybe I missed them. I ended up streaming it on Peacock and seeing the commercials through the Peacock streaming service, but I don't remember anything really making me laugh very hard. I thought it was I don't know. It seemed like there was a lot of sad commercials, very like serious commercials. I didn't see like any funny Doritos ones this year. I didn't see any funny like Pepsi ones this year. I don't know. Maybe leave a comment down below and maybe tell me something that I missed. But anyway, thank you all for listening. This has been West Coast Gridiron. I've been your host, Coach Freeman. There'll be another clinic series, one coming out this week. We'll be looking at some simple passing concepts to add into your game, which you can run on multiple formations. So remember, be Be great, give effort, discipline, execution. Have a great day. Thank you all so very much.